Today we're going to be talking about Collide. Collide is not exactly a good movie, but it's a fun movie. What do I mean by fun? Well, it harkens back to a simpler time of action movies where you didn't really need to make sense. You just needed to have fun with it. And this movie is definitely having fun with it, particularly its car chases, especially on the Autobahn, if you know what that is. I didn't know what it was until I looked it up on this movie. There's a bunch of great car chases, a bunch of CG car crashes, but a couple practicals. It all looks very fun. It's very fun. The story doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you know how I said it harkens back to a simpler time when action movies didn't really need to make sense. Well, I have two prime examples of that. And those examples are Crank, and also obviously Crank 2, but also, more importantly, Shoot 'em Up. Movies like this, they don't make sense. They never do. They never will, and they don't make sense. The story isn't even perfect enough, but it's fun. It is so incredibly fun. The amount of mayhem that Clive Owen and Jason Statham go on in these three films, are absolutely incredible. They are some of the best, and I do obviously think all three of these films are superior to Collide. I want to make the comparison that it harkens back to this type of era of action movies that we need to go back to. We still make some of those types of movies, like Nobody, that movie Nobody with that one guy that a lot of people say is from that Breaking Bad show that I probably the only person on the planet who hasn't seen yet, and I haven't seen Better Call Saul either, but it's that guy in the movie Nobody, made by the stunt coordinator of John Wick, I think. But either way, John Wick's also great, but it's that style of movie that doesn't make sense, but is very fun. Now, John Wick is very fun. It doesn't make sense, but it's kind of serious in a vibe that doesn't really that clashes a little bit with the vibe of Shoot 'em Up and the vibe of Crank. The vibe of these movies feel like they're action comedies more than actual action movies. Though everybody is taking this seriously, it ends up being hilarious. It does. It ends up being hilarious. Now, in Collide, Nicholas Holt's character does not end up going on a mayhem spree of gunfights and shooties, but we have similar things in regards to cars, that he causes a lot of mayhem on this highway, on these tight and close roads, going through a German city, because there are some things that I would change. You know, obviously Nicholas Hoult and Felicity Jones are British. You should have made these two British people, okay? They're in Germany. It makes sense. The two British people wouldn't understand German, so that could have worked, and you could have let them have their native accents that they're probably very good at, since, you know, it's their native accent. That's what they were born speaking as, and you wouldn't have had to ADR every single line that Felicity Jones ever said. I wasn't bothered by that. She wasn't in the movie enough for me to really notice that. I just noticed that after the fact, you know, because, you know, that's what it happens. But I had no problems with the story because I didn't really pay too much attention to it. But that's how these action movies are. They're like boo-boo keys for a little baby. You know, that's the type of that's a great example. They're like boo-boo keys for a little baby. That's the type of action movie audience, too. It's the type of action movie for a typical audience. That's what the Fast and Furious movies are. The little boo-boo keys for an infant. You jingle them together. They make a little clinky-clacky sound effects, and the baby's all obsessed with banging the keys together, and the audience, the crowd loves watching the cars bang together. We don't care what anybody by saying it's just a bunch of flashing lights. It's entertainment for the sake of entertainment. It's not entertainment for the sake of art, for the sake of storytelling, for the sake of anything like that. It's just fun. I'm having fun watching Collide. I had a lot of fun watching this movie. It's a very bad movie. It's worse than Shoot 'Em Up. It's worse than Crank and Crank 2. I don't care. I don't care at all. I had a lot of fun watching this movie. Nicholas Hoult plays an American. Obviously, he's already misplaced. And Felicity Jones plays an American. Obviously, very misplaced. You should not make British people play Americans. You shouldn't make Australian people play Americans. And you definitely shouldn't make Australian people play British people. It's just, let them be British. Let them be Australian. It's okay. And I don't know, maybe the filmmakers thought, we don't have a single American in here. Maybe you already don't have a single American in here. These two are British. You're not fooling anyone. So let them be British. We know they're British. At least I do. Don't insult my intelligence. I already know this is low bar entertainment, and I am obviously easily entertained by low bar entertainment. I'm telling you, I've watched the Crank movies and Shoot 'Em Up so many times. They're so much fun. I'd argue they're better than John Wick in regards to the fun factor. They don't take themselves seriously at all. Though the funny part about Collide is it does take itself seriously in very many cases, except for a couple characters who don't take their roles seriously. And a couple of those characters, I hope they're on the back here. They are! We have Ben Kingsley, who definitely is one of the standout characters. He's definitely pulling off of that type of out-of-way, crazy, funny role that he played in Iron Man 2, where he played Trevor, who played the Mandarin, who was actually an actor acting as the Mandarin. Or was that Iron Man 3? I think that was Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin. I think that was Iron Man 3. I get those movies mixed up. It's like the story in 2 and 3 kind of. But either way, the Iron Man movies are fun. Ben Kingsley's role as the Mandarin, or Trevor, was incredibly funny. It was very funny. This face, he looks like he's a very serious man. When you look at Ben Kingsley's face, you think this guy's a typecast for like a mob boss, and he tends to be a mob boss in many movies. I think the funniest part of this would probably be if you didn't cast Sir Anthony Hopkins here, but instead cast Morgan Freeman in this role. And this would have been Lucky Number 11 Part 2. I don't know if you've ever watched Lucky Number 11. I don't know if I've talked about that movie. I really need to. I'm going to have to review that movie. I'm going to have to rewatch that movie. It's such a fun time. Lucky Number 11 has Ben Kingsley in it as well. And he plays the rabbi. And why is he called a rabbi? Because he is a rabbi. But he's also a mob boss, and he plays the role completely straight, and yet it's absolutely hilarious. In this, he's in a movie that has serious vibes, serious atmosphere, but he's the one not taking it seriously. He's a mid-level boss, and he's not taking any of. So he's constantly on drugs, right? He's on everything. And we meet this character when he's sitting on a pile of women. Ben Kingsley. He's sitting on a pile of women. He's slurring his words, and he's obsessed with Burt Reynolds. And he says to Nicholas Hoult that he looks like Burt. He doesn't look like Burt Reynolds at all. That just goes to show how he's not even on planet Earth. That's how crazy this man's role, this man is. That's how much drugs he's on, right? And so he's obsessed with Burt Reynolds. He makes a lot of Burt Reynolds monologues. It's absolutely hilarious. Anthony Hopkins is also fantastic. I don't think you can ever get a bad performance out of Anthony Hopkins, even when he's phoning it in. In this, he plays this other mob boss, a higher level mob boss, who is very far more intelligent than this guy, but he's also hilariously incompetent. It reminded me so much of Lucky Number 11. I cannot begin to tell you how much it reminds me of Lucky Number 11. Even though Nicholas Hoult does not play an incredibly competent man like Slevin did, played by Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett, very incredible, awesome actor. I loved him in Trap. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I have to talk about Trap. If I haven't talked about Trap, I have to talk about Trap. We're going to talk about Trap if I haven't talked about it. Either way, Nicholas Hoult plays a character who is a low-level thug from America. He's in Germany. He's playing a low-level thug working for a mid-tier crime boss. And he decides to get out of the low-level thug business when he meets Felicity Jones, because he falls in love with her over the course of a month and a half, because the montage of their love sequence is about 30 seconds long. I didn't even pay attention. I was like looking elsewhere. I was like looking at my phone to check something, and then the montage was over. And they must have said something like how they were together for about a month, maybe 2 months. I didn't even hear it, and it didn't even matter. It didn't even matter. Nicholas Hoult plays this role. He really sells the role of a guy who's really in love with a girl who you barely know. It's very funny. It's very funny. His acting is very fantastic in this thing. I just want to say that the Nicholas Hoult, Anthony Hopkins, and Ben Kingsley, their roles in this are great. Their acting in it is great. Felicity Jones is a good actress. She is. She's just not on screen enough for me to really say that she's on the level of these three, but she's fine. She's a lot better than the side characters, who are just side characters. Like, the side characters are also great, because they're just there to be thugs, and they're very good at being thugs. They're very, very good at being thugs, because they're just thugs. So Nicholas Hoult comes up with a plan to collect a bus full of drugs, right? A big truck full of drugs that have been infused into golf balls that are supposed to be smuggled outside or into the country, and then they collect the drugs and then they sell the drugs in Germany and they make a boatload of cash, right? And then what Ben Kingsley doesn't tell Nicholas Hoult is that this truck actually belongs to Anthony Hopkins, who is the higher level boss, who is the partner that snubbed Ben Kingsley. And now Ben Kingsley wants to get revenge on Anthony Hopkins by doing this, but he doesn't tell Nicholas Hoult that this is his plan. So when Nicholas Hoult steals the truck, he pisses off Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins gets after Nicholas Hoult. Nicholas Hoult goes like, "I didn't mean to take it from you. I didn't," and he didn't know anything about that, so he jumps into a car, tries to escape. He doesn't rat out Ben Kingsley. He just jumps into a car, tries to escape. But Anthony Hopkins ends up learning about the girl, so Nicholas Hoult is on a race against time to find his girlfriend to save her from Anthony Hopkins. He calls Ben Kingsley to try to get Ben Kingsley to collect the girl to keep her safe. In exchange, he'll give him all the money that he found in a Mercedes car that he stole. And this is like a Grand Theft Auto chapter in one of the Grand Theft Auto games. I would actually, you know what? Why don't we have a Grand Theft Auto set in like London or Germany, like a fictional city in London or Germany or whatever? Like, that would be very awesome, you know. Just playing against all the parodies of those two guys. That would have been that. It's an idea. It's a free idea, Rockstar. It's completely free. You could take this idea. Take it for free. I know you're not going to watch this. I know nobody's going to watch this. But take this idea. Take it and make it. Take it and make. But it's very, very, very much like a GTA episode. Because the amount of cars that Nicholas Hoult jumps into and swaps into throughout the course of this movie is absolutely comical. It's comical. It's hilarious. It is very good. He just jumps from one to one to one. He goes through it, like, crashes a bunch of goons' cars that are chasing him, and then he crashes his car. He gets out. He wobbles over to another convertible. The man's yelling at him. He punches him in the face. He jumps into the car and keeps going forward. He drops it off at a gas station. Anthony Hopkins catches up to him. They have a shootout at the gas station. Nicholas Hoult escapes the gas station, gets into another car that the thugs drove in with, drives that off, and then he swaps that out with another car, then he swaps that out with another car, and it's chase after chase. It is so much fun. It is so much fun. But I do have to make the clarification here that the fun and entertainment that I garner from this movie is not because it's good. I have to clarify this. The amount of entertainment I get from this is because I'm easily entertained by the type of stuff you'll find in movies like Shoot 'Em Up and Crank. I love that stuff. I love that over-the-top garbage. It is so much fun, especially when it's comical. And in this, it feels comical, especially with the performances of Ben Kingsley and Anthony Hopkins. They make it feel like this is a comedy movie, and I love it. I loved it. In the end, Nicholas Hoult manages to escape with a bunch of money, and he manages to save his girlfriend, who also had kidney failure, by the way. That was the whole reason he got involved in all the drug stuff again, to get money for his girl, because apparently in Germany, since she's American, she's not German, she doesn't qualify for the excellent Germany healthcare program to get the kidney transplant for very cheap. So they won't let her have that. They'll get her on dialysis, sure, but they won't give her the transplant and all that stuff. So Nicholas Hoult realizes, okay, we have to go to America. We're going to need $200,000 for this transplant, for this whole procedure. $200,000! Is that really how much it costs? That's criminal! That's highway robbery! We need to do something about that. But that's something for another time. That's something for another. So you need $200,000. Okay, you can buy a sports car or a kidney transplant. Okay. So he gets the $200,000. They move to America. They escape Germany and apparently all of the crimes that Nicholas Hoult broke. All the laws that Nicholas Hoult broke in exchange for arresting Anthony Hopkins, who is the highest crime level boss in Germany that the cops couldn't touch, apparently, even though Anthony Hopkins can walk right into a gas station, point a gun at the owner, and apparently there are no cameras catching him on camera enough to put him away. So Nicholas Hoult makes a deal with one of the cop people, and so they let him go in exchange for capturing him and the truckload full of drugs that he manages to spirit away for both Ben Kingsley's character and Anthony Hopkins' character. And so they go to America, and so Felicity Jones gets her kidney transplant, and all that gets paid for, and they get to restart their lives. It's a happy ending that we don't get to see from a happy beginning that we didn't get to see. This movie is a mess. It is a beautiful, wonderful mess that I loved. I loved it, man. This is the type of movie that you could show to your dad. And if your dad loves movies like Mission Impossible, Fast and Furious, and all those other 80s and 90s action movies like Cobra with Stallone, Commando with Schwarzenegger, Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme, if he's a fan of all of those types of movies, and you show him this, he'll probably say, hey, that was pretty good. And yeah, I'm a fan of all those movies too. And yeah, this was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. I cannot say it's a good movie. I can't say it's even better than all of the movies it reminded me of, such as Shoot 'Em Up, Crank, Crank 2, Lucky Number 11. I think all four of those movies are vastly superior to this. I'd actually say that those four movies are good movies. This movie is just fun. It doesn't have to be good, but if it's fun, oh man, I will love to watch this movie again, maybe even the third time. I would definitely give Collide a look if you're a fan of fun.